Good morning, Ipswich Council on Aging. Thank you for having the National Association of Senior Advocates present COVID Crooks, Pandemic Scam and Fraud Prevention. My name is Mara Allard. I'm a realtor at Keller Williams in Beverly and a member of the National Association of Senior Advocates. Joining me are two other members, Walter Hartford, a financial advisor at Edward Jones, and attorney Brandon Campbell, an elder law and estate planning attorney at the law offices of Brandon Campbell in Beverly. Brandon will be presenting a 15-minute presentation on how to identify and protect yourself from recent scams that have come on the scene since COVID-19. And then Walter and myself will reenact a scam so you can see how these professionals prey on their audience. The National Association of Senior Advocates is a trusted source of vetted professionals specializing in the unique needs of older adults. The website is www.naosa.org. I'll let Brandon take this away.
Hello, I'm Brandon Campbell. I'm an estate planning and elder law attorney with an office at the Cummings Center in Beverly. Today, we're going to talk about scams that are happening against older adults right now. And unfortunately, there has been a rise of over 350% in fraudulent activity since the pandemic started. So this is very important information for you and your family to know about. I want to start by talking about what I call the frontline defense. These are the basic things that you need to know, and if you follow these rules, you're going to be safe for almost all of the time. Let's start by many of the scams that come in by email or telephone call, and these are unsolicited. So you do not want to provide any personal information anytime you receive an unsolicited contact, especially if it's the nature of a social security number, date of birth, or account numbers. You do not want to give this information out to somebody who contacts you out of the blue. If you proactively contact a government agency or a financial institution, that's different. But when you have an unexpected contact from them, they reach out to you and you weren't expecting it, you should be on guard. Many robocalls are fraudulent. Our advice with respect to robocalls is to just hang up on all of them, even the legitimate ones. Frequently, you will have a robocall that will say that if you want to be taken on the list, press some number. That can actually be used to verify that you actually are a legitimate number and can be resold and can result in you getting more robocalls. So the best thing you can do, just hang up the phone. When receiving emails, unsolicited emails, which everyone gets, one technique that you can do to make sure it's not what's called a phishing email, an email from a fraudster who's trying to get your information, trying to get you to click on something, log in, and then steal your passwords, is any link that you receive in any email, you can hover over it with your cursor most of the time, and you will be able to see, in many instances, a URL, an address for the website that it's going to take you to. Pay attention to these, because if it's supposedly taking you to a government agency, you're going to see something like .gov. But if you see .com or something along that nature, that could be a red flag. Another common thing with all scams is they want to pressure you to act as quickly as possible. I'm going to talk a little more about that in a moment. Huge source of scams right now are the use of prepaid gift cards. Scammers like to use prepaid gift cards because it is almost impossible to trace them, and they can get the money instantly. So it is their preferred source right now, and many of the scams that are going on right now will ask you to go to some retailer and pick out a gift card, load it with some money, and then call the scammer back and read the number off the back of the card. They can take that number and they can sell that. They can use that number They can go to the store, they can purchase goods that are resaleable and sell those to other people, and they can actually sell the cards. There's ways, there's exchanges online that allow for that. So if anybody asks you to purchase a prepaid gift card or a prepaid MasterCard in connection with any kind of solicitation, just say no, because that is one of the biggest signs that someone is trying to scam you. If you are going to use a card to purchase some service, I recommend that you use a credit card. Under federal law, if you do make a purchase on a credit card, you can go to your credit card provider and tell them that you've been scammed, and they are required to refund the money. However, this applies only to straight credit cards. If it's a debit card, then it is up to your bank, and they may or they may not refund you the money that you've lost. So if you're going to, and obviously you don't want to make any purchases you're not confident about, but if you are ever in a situation and you're just going to go ahead and do it anyway, use a credit card. So those are the basic things that if you follow those general rules, you're going to be okay. But the problem is it's always more complicated than that, because the scammers are going to try and take advantage of you emotionally. They're going to try and put you in some kind of heightened emotional state that impairs your judgment. A lot of times it is fear, worry, anxiety, loneliness. They can take advantage of those emotions so that you're not thinking straight. And con artists call this being placed under the ether. So they're going to tell you that, you know, somebody's been in an accident, you need to get some money to a lawyer, or somebody's in the hospital and they need you to wire money. You know, like, oh no, it's like something happened to Jimmy, I've got to do something, you know. So and they want you to feel that way. So anytime you're feeling that way from especially from some unsolicited contact, you should immediately be on your guard. Just try and focus in on that emotional manipulation. If you recognize it, you're going to have a big hand up on protecting yourself. I'm a big fan of Frank Abagnale Jr. He's the guy over on the left side of the screen with the yellow and black tie. He was portrayed in the 2002 movie Catch Me If You Can. He played the part that it's based on a true story. Leonardo DiCaprio played him when he was young. When he was in the late 60s and early 70s, between the ages of 16 and 21, Abagnale went all over the United States and Europe and stole millions of dollars by committing check fraud. He was eventually caught by the FBI. The FBI agent that caught him is played by Tom Hanks. He did about 5 years in prison, and the FBI was so impressed with his skills. He was impersonating lawyers and airline pilots, and really remarkable for a young person, that they put him to work for the agency. And he's worked there for many decades now, and he's become a leading resource for educating people about fraud and prosecuting fraudulent activity. His best piece of advice, I think, and I love it because it's so short, it's stop and verify. It's 2 words. What does that mean? Stop. This means if you're being approached and you're being pressured to act, hang up the phone, close the door, stop the contact. The reason is this: the people who do scams do this all the time. It's like their job. They get very good at it. Have you ever tried to argue with a telemarketer on the phone It's like they've got an excuse for everything you come up with. And that's the same thing with scammers. It's no fault on your intelligence, but you don't want to be in a situation where you're arguing with them. Just get off the phone and do your own research. The verify is, like I said, you want to check things out independent of the information that the scammer might give you. And a huge thing, the reason we've got a cell phone with a / in there is because many people think if they're called by a scammer, then, and it comes up on the caller ID box that it's the IRS or Social Security or whoever, that is verification. It is not verification. The scammers have technology that allows them to spoof phone numbers from places that they say that they are calling. So you cannot trust that. You cannot trust any telephone number that a scammer gives you. You have to look it up from some independent source. If it's a financial institution that you do business with, go to a statement that you've received from them in the mail. Use that phone number. Do not use the phone number that they give you. So let's talk about the scams that are big right now during COVID world. This was early on in the pandemic. There were fake emails for Centers from Disease Control and the World Health Organization trying to get personal information from you. There has been fake corona testing sites. Literally, scammers would set up testing sites, pretend to swab you, take your credit card information, and take your money, and the test was totally bogus. One concern I have is, as part of the government's efforts to combat the pandemic, is contact tracing. And you have to be careful. You want to cooperate with contact tracing because it's good for public health, but at the same time, you also have to recognize that there will be scammers out there who will inevitably try and take advantage of this too. So I recommend you do not give us anybody who claims to be a contact tracer any social security numbers, any dates of birth, and you certainly don't want to give them any account numbers. And you would do well to verify who they are, like I said before. There have been a number of scams about supplements and even cures. People have gotten on the internet and say they have a cure for coronavirus. There have been people making allegations, trying to sell industrial bleach. I'm not making this up. Ozone therapy, which will somehow charge your molecules with oxygen and it will destroy the coronavirus and prevent it from taking hold. This is happening. You need to be on the lookout for this. Amazon has taken down over 1 million products off of their website because it's either making questionable claims or it's counterfeit PPE. So there's a lot of stuff out there. Amazon's trying to police it, but they can only do so well. You have to do your own research. If you're going to order PPE, I recommend that you do it with a credit card. It's not fraudulent, but there are companies who are taking orders for PPE and they don't have the goods, and they're really just going to go to try and get it manufactured in a hurry and then send it to you. And I don't know if that's fraud per se, but you shouldn't have to wait for 6 months for something that you've ordered. There are corona tracking apps that are supposedly going to tell you where other people who have corona are in your neighborhood. You don't want to install this. This is malware. This will get into your computer. There have been there was a scam for free Netflix. Netflix, out of the goodness of its heart, was going to give free access because everybody was home and bored and all they could do was watch TV, right? Great thing for Netflix to do. Not real. They didn't do it. They would get you to sign up and they'd take your personal information, and then you have to deal with identity theft. And they'll take your money as well. If you receive any contact about any charities that you're concerned about, again, if it's an unsolicited contact, the best advice I have is to check them out at the Mass Attorney General website. I have that listed here for you. The other one particularly brazen scam I heard of was someone was actually calling up people and claiming that they had COVID already and threatening to come to your house and cough on you and get you sick unless you gave them money. Don't fall for that kind of extortion. You definitely want to alert the police if that happens. So we're getting a little bit past the normal time for tax season. I know that the deadlines have been extended, but the IRS is a perennial favorite of scammers. They like to call you up and tell you that you've messed up on your taxes or something you've been bad, and if you don't give them some money right away, you're going to be subject to arrest and fines and imprisonment and this, that, and the other thing. So they're not going to contact you by email about your taxes, okay? Or a refund either. So if you get that, if you're contacted in that manner, you immediately know it's a scam. IRS is always going to send something in the mail. There are scammers that are spoofing the Small Business Administration. They're sending, and this is for business owners out there who may be trying to get EIDL loans or PPP loans. Careful if you're going through the process and you get an email from SBA. It could be a scam email. You want to, like I said before, when you're dealing with emails, you definitely want to hover. You want to check out that link that you're clicking on, because they may ask for personal information, social security number, date of birth. You think it's in connection with the loan, and you're really giving it to scammers. As if there weren't enough going on in the world, we're actually in the middle of a census. So according to the census website, if you haven't responded to the census, they will send around representatives to come to your door, and they'll actually get these household information from you. This is supposed to restart this month. It was on pause. I've got recommendations here for you to make sure that the people at your door are actually legitimately from the United States Census Bureau, about checking IDs. There is a number that you can call if you have any lingering concerns, but they're not going to ask for your social security number, your account numbers, nothing political, and you certainly shouldn't be giving the census person any money. So if you are a victim, you should immediately contact the Ipswich Police Department. I've given the number here. The Ipswich Police do a great job. However, I would recommend that you also call the Massachusetts Attorney General's office. They are the highest law enforcement agency in the state. They have, while Ipswich Police is great, the AG's office has more resources and potentially can do a more in-depth investigation than the local police. I've given you two numbers here. They have a specific hotline for people who are 60 plus. But you can use either one of these lines. Once you have filed a police report, you want to get a copy of that police report and contact one of the three credit bureaus and ask for a fraud alert to be placed on your account. You can place a fraud alert on your account without a police report, but it will only last 1 year. If you get a police report and then contact them and provide it to them, you can get a fraud alert that will last for 7 years. And a fraud alert, when that is on your account, they will take additional steps. It will require additional steps in order for you to be granted credit. There'll be more verification. You can still get credit, but they take more steps to verify your identity. Obviously, you want to contact any institution that is directly been affected. I'd already talked about credit cards. You can get fraudulent charges reversed by credit cards. You can also you can ask with debit cards, like I said. It's very difficult if you've used prepaid debit cards or gift cards to get that money back. But if you act quickly and you go to the retailer, there is a chance that they might be able to pull back the money. And lastly, it's always helpful to report scams that are going on to the Federal Trade Commission. They're not going to investigate your claim, but they do keep track of the information, and they publish information on the internet and other places to educate other members of the public as to the scams that are going on, and you might help someone else. So at this point, I'm going to turn it over to Maura and Walter. This is based on a real scam. Actually, I had a close family member who almost succumbed to this very recently. This one has been going on all during this year. So hopefully it won't happen to you. But if it does, we're going to give you some help. So take it away, Maura and Walter.
Ring, 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 ring. Hello?
Hello, my name is Pat, and I'm with Comcast Xfinity, delivering the best in high-speed internet, phone, and cable service. May I speak with Jane Anderson?
Speaking. I'm all set on my cable television. I have too many channels as it is.
I'm calling you today to help save you money on your cable bill.
Well, I have been watching a lot of television since the pandemic. The bill is pretty expensive, though, for someone like me on a fixed income.
How would you like to save as much as 50% or more on your current bill?
Pardon me, but I seriously doubt you would call me up just to get less money. What's the catch?
There is no catch. Have you ever heard of eBay?
Sure. I don't really use it, but I think my grandson buys a lot of things on there. Junk mostly, if you ask me. How many video games does someone need?
Well, Comcast and eBay are teaming up for a promotion that will provide significant savings to our customers. If you take advantage of this amazing opportunity, you can receive all of your existing Comcast services for the flat rate of $125 per month.
Taxes included? I hate all those extra fees you tack onto that bill.
Yes, the flat rate of $125 per month covers all taxes and fees. There'll be no surprises when you open your statement.
That sounds pretty good.
The promotion requires one thing, however.
I knew there was a catch.
No catch. In order to take advantage of this incredible savings, you simply have to prepay for 2 months of service using eBay Bucks.
How do I do that?
It's easy. You simply need to visit any retailer near you that sells eBay gift cards, such as Target or Walmart, and purchase a card in an amount equal to 2 months of the service at the promotional rate.
It sounds like a good deal, but I try avoid going out if I don't have to.
In addition, if you sign up by 10 p.m. today, you'll receive a free prepaid MasterCard in the mail in the amount of $100. So if you take advantage of our offer, not only will you save money on your regular bill, it will almost be like receiving a free month of Comcast.
Okay, what do I need to do?
Great. Before we get started, I need to verify that you're the account holder. Is your address still 857 Highland Ave, Salem?
Yes, it is.
Your date of birth?
June 6, 1944.
And your social security number?
12354 9876.
Do you have a pen handy? I need you to write down some numbers.
Yes, I'm ready.
After you purchase the $250 eBay prepaid gift card at your retailer, you'll need to call us back at 800-222-3333 and give the following promotional code: eBay 125-8867. Then simply read the number on the back of the gift card to the operator, and you'll be all set.
I've got it. Thanks for calling today. Like I said before, I'm on a fixed income. This is going to really help me.
I'm glad it could be of service. Please be sure to call back today before 10 p.m. to receive the prepaid MasterCard. I wouldn't want you to miss out on that.
I definitely will. I'm leaving now.
Thank you, and stay safe.
You too.
Alrighty, we're back. So, thank you, Maura and Walter. So there's some things, some takeaways I'd like you to think about. You can certainly go back and listen to their dialogue again, but I'll give you some of the quick answers. This is, remember I said about being placed under the ether, this is a scam where they're looking at people who are having a tough time paying their bills, right? And they have some anxiety around money, and then they get this call. It's like, oh, all of a sudden, it's like, one of my biggest, expenses is they're offering to like cut it in half. That is going to get a lot of people's attention and perhaps get them to suspend their judgment more than they should. They do things to make the scam seem real. They'll give you promotional codes. They'll use the lingo. It's all an effort to gain credibility. And frequently, when they call, they will already have some of your personal information. They may already have, they've already got your telephone. They frequently will have your name and your address too. And what they'll do sometimes is they'll kind of trick you into thinking that, oh, I've got this information already. I'm trying to verify who you are, your identity. So they use that to fish the information from you that they don't have. And of course, this scam that Walter and Maura just reenacted, the scammer was trying to get the person to go to Target and get a gift card. And of course, they would come back. They think that they're prepaying their bill for a lower rate, and it's really just, they're just giving money to a scammer. So, and again, what should the person have done? Stop and verify, should have got off the phone, should have got to their statement and called up Comcast, and then they would have been told that this isn't a real thing. So that is it for our presentation. I'm going to turn it back over to Maura for some closing remarks.
Thank you, Brandon. I just wanted to thank I wanted to thank Brandon and Walter of the National Association of Senior Advocates. I wanted to thank the Ipswich Council on Aging for having us today and letting us present this information that we feel is important and we hope you found helpful. If you want any more information on the National Association of Senior Advocates, again, the website is www.naosa.org. And we appreciate your time today. Thank you, and be safe and well.